I guess today left a tech career when his daughter was born and started fitting out vans in a shop working on his own. Welcome, Andrew, to the Joe Show.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks for having me.
You spent about a decade in tech and startups. What was the
Yeah.
moment you decided to build vans and just do that in a shop by yourself?
Yeah, well, I don't know if I would say I chose it. I got laid off. It was, I think, 2023, and then um, started thinking about, what would I actually want to do long term. And I had a buddy that was doing van conversions, and I was a hobby woodworker. So he asked me to help him with some cabinetry. And I helped him and I loved it, and I was just doing it kind of in my spare time. Um, and then I started taking that idea more seriously, and I was thinking, "No, if he can do this, I think I can." I just put some listings up on Facebook Marketplace for custom van conversions, and I got a job within like a week. So I had no idea what I was doing and had to spend weeks and weeks learning all the electronics and everything that goes into a van conversion.
Mm.
It's just total on the job learning, kind of doing my best to pretend like I knew what I was talking about. Um, but yeah, from there, it just kinda kept growing and getting customers and continuing to learn as I go.
Do want to take a moment just with the times that we're living in now, too, with the way that AI is taking over. Or a lot of jobs now are expected to take more, and a lot of people are quite stressed about that. And the way I see through the times ahead is entrepreneurship. So
Yeah.
just your example, you're somebody who worked for companies and maybe didn't think of yourself as an entrepreneur so much, but look what you've done. You're able to go and do that and find it suits your skills and suits who you are. So it's a great example of what's possible too.
Yeah, I think I didn't touch on that, but another part of my thought process was kind of finding work in an industry that was AI proof, and so I was
Mm.
thinking like, well, AI, at least nowhere in the near future is it gonna be able to convert vans. So I thought this will be at least secure for a little while. And then, yeah, I think a whole 'nother area of conversation is kind of what I'm able to do with AI, running a really lean small business on my own. Uh,
This actually leads into my next question. You've managed big systems and big teams, and now you're solo. Is that a bit
right.
unnerving, or is it just exciting to be able to build your own systems now? Tell me about that.
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. I mean, there were tons of aspects of the business world that I had no contact with um, in my past roles. So it's definitely a bit unnerving. Like right now, currently, I'm just digging into the accounting side of things and how to like collect tax when I'm buying things wholesale. So that whole world is like completely foreign to me. And yeah, without AI, I'm doing SEO and I'm like kind of like you were talking about, accounting, quoting, intake, all these things, like, in the past, I would have to have a whole team, and it wouldn't be an option for me.
So with the marketing, you've gone all in on the content-led SEO, which I think is fantastic actually for your business type. It's your primary growth strategy, no ads except, I guess, Facebook Marketplace, but you haven't got the outbound sales going on. It's just you writing blog posts and optimizing pages. When did you
Yeah.
decide that that was the play?
Um, well, I did run some ads and they didn't do anything for me.
Yeah.
Um, so I was spending some money and literally no leads at all.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about what I was doing. So I just went through the campaign builder and got to the end as quickly as possible and looked at my bill one day and was like, "Oh my gosh, where are the calls that I'm supposed to be getting from these hundreds of dollars?" Um, so I'm sure there's a way to optimize and do it a lot better than I did it on my first pass. I didn't know anything up front and just realized that there was the keywords for this type of thing are really low difficulty and no one's going after them.
How do you fit it all in?
Yeah, basically Marketing at night and late at night and early in the morning, and building vans when I have, um yeah, during the kind of the regular hours. And then, sometimes I take half the morning to work on kind of the back end stuff. Um, but yeah, trying to be productive on both fronts is definitely what I'm trying
Mm,
to do. It's a pretty heavy time commitment.
mm. I've seen examples. One was from a warehouse sort of packing company, and they were able to pinpoint exactly which piece of content brought in a seriously good customer. And they were just
Yeah.
talking about the structure of the blog post that they'd done and why. Have you ever had any situations where you've been able to track in your Google Analytics or feedback from somebody who became a client? Suppose your site's redone is still pretty new, like whether anybody's come through a particular piece of content yet or not.
So I've had a couple Instagram reels that have done pretty well. And think, um, yeah, kind of from me looking at the analytics, a lot of leads are kind of coming through Instagram to my website.
Mhm.
Um, and that's how they're getting to me.
Your website structure is excellent, by the way. You've got, you know, the budget guides, the DIY checklists, the FAQ pages. It's really well set up. So full
Yeah,
credit
thank
to
you.
you on that. Um,
Yeah.
you're kind of teaching people how to do what you do. Doesn't that give away the work, you know?
Yeah, I don't maybe. My guess is, and I don't wanna speak disparagingly, but I think there's a handful of companies that are, um, crushing the market on the high end stuff, and then there's a lot of companies who aren't even thinking about this at all. And I think one of the things that makes me unique is having that tech background and being basically being super plugged into the AI community, and learning as much as I can on how
Mm,
to leverage that. I think I haven't talked to everyone in the van building community, but I would my hunch is that not a lot of people are doing both, kind of leveraging AI and
it's
building it.
uh,
It's like an
should be
industry that's
correct.
probably a little bit behind technologically, so
Yes. I spoke to a local business organization recently, and they said, "We would love you to come and talk to us about AI. We're desperate. We need it for our members.
yeah.
Let's talk in August," they said. I nearly fell over.
Oh, yeah. Right.
I thought,
August, yeah,
I
forget
don't even
about
know what
it.
the world will look like in August for the rate of change."
Right. Yeah,
I'm like, "You guys
exactly.
should be doing this now."
Right.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's so easy. Claude goes and looks at what the keyword difficulty is, and, stuff in the van world's like, most of it's 0, and, Google's asking people to write blog posts and articles about these things. Um And that, I have 200 keywords that I'm targeting, and I just type in a couple questions. I didn't even know Claude taught me this stuff. I didn't know it, you know, 6 months ago.
Tell me, are you using Google Search Console much yet?
Yeah, I don't, to be honest, most of what I do is in Claude, so, uh,
Mm,
it's definitely using Google Search Console. And then I have Ahrefs, and so
mm,
for the content-led SEO, I'm just kinda asking it to go find keywords that we can target, and it's coming back and saying, "These are all, like, super easy. All we gotta
mm.
do is, you know, put up 20 pages and then, we'll be in there."
The only reason I mention Google Search Console is that it's such a rich source of free data. Um,
Yeah,
I used to pay for SEMrush. I used to pay $850 a month for all the features in my team seats, and I don't pay
yeah,
any of it now. And Google is great, not only for showing the exact search terms people used to find your site and which page Google
yeah,
showed them, but also the click-through rate on that page. So you can look at that
yeah,
and say, well, do we want to bump up the positional click-through rate? So I'm just pointing that out for anybody listening. It's very relevant, it's free, and it's very, very
yeah.
useful for your SEO. So if you were talking to somebody who's wanting to start thinking about SEO for their service-based business, what's the first thing you would tell them to do?
I think it's important to have good content, like, as the foundation. I think if you had to pick between, like hacking together good SEO versus just investing the time to make good content. You're just, I don't know, cutting yourself off at the knees if you don't have good stuff out there.
It's perfect advice. Make
Yeah,
Seth Godin when somebody asked Seth Godin, a famous marketer, who how to how to go viral, he said, "Make something people wanna talk about." So it's not that hard, is it? In from that point of view, keep even with all of the shiny tools and the pace of change and all the carry on, it's still do good work. Make
yeah,
content that people want
exactly.
to know about, answer the questions people are asking, make sure you label your photos with something relevant so that if somebody's doing Google image search, your site will come up. Don't just let your
Right.
photo be a string of numbers. Said you were underquoting labor by, 30 to 40%.
But yeah, just
How did you
insane.
figure it out? Like, did a job just blow wide open, or did somebody you respect tap you on the shoulder and say, "What on earth are you doing?"
I go back and look at what I had quoted them, and I realized like, "Oh my gosh, I this took." So it's like every line item of work I did, I would kind of audit myself on how I did compared to what I thought it it would take. And basically everything was more expensive and everything took much longer than I thought. So, I still don't have it totally nailed, and there's always things you can't totally account for, um, when things go wrong or it was more complex than you thought. And
Mm,
then doing something the first time is always gonna be, um, take twice as long. I
yeah.
I do if the customer asks me to do something that I haven't done before, I tell them I haven't done it before, but I'm happy to do it, and I can guarantee that it'll work, and then I just try to charge them what it would take, someone who's done this before. I don't make them pay for my learning curve there. So,
That's very fair, very reasonable.
yeah.
Something else I'm really big about is building a business to suit, who you are. I
Yeah.
think sometimes we try to contort ourselves into fitting into a business that we think we should be building, and then we resent it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sometimes that can look, unusual. So tell me how that works with you and your family.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge reason that I chose this direction was, I was in these tech roles and I wasn't motivated by them. I wasn't very excited about my work. I always tried to do the job well, but I just found it like such a drag, the whole just being on a computer all day and working for someone else and feeling stressed if, what is my boss gonna think of this? And, all the things that come with kind of a normal job. And so it felt really important to me to work for myself, and I wanted to do something that was manual and, got to work with my hands, and there's obviously a lot of jobs out there that fit that bill, but I think this one in particular, converting vans it's all you're doing something new every day, and it's not monotonous or tedious manual labor. A lot of the job gets monotonous or tedious at times, but um, you're kind of thinking about different systems and how they work together and how to optimize, and it's a ton of problem solving. So all these things are like really exciting to me and just they fit my personality really well. Getting to do a lot of different things and solve a lot of different problems over the course of a couple months that it takes. And then being outside and just getting to work with my hands and be physical is good for me.
Is there a world where you think that Emery Custom Builds would scale, and become a bigger company with a team, or is it just something you're not interested in doing at all?
Yeah, I think so. That would be the dream. When am I saying no to work so frequently that I'm just losing a lot of money and need to take on the burden of hiring and managing other people to help,
Mm.
I think at this point right now that the cost benefit isn't pointing towards hiring, but hopefully in 6 months to a year it'll be a different story.
What would you say to somebody who thinks, "I really need to change my life. I need to get out of this job and go out on my own," but they might be a bit scared to do it?
it can be a lot harder than you think it's gonna be, and it can be a lot better than you think it's gonna be. I think I wouldn't say just go do it right now. I think I would want them to count the cost. My family, yeah, we had to make quite a few sacrifices. Early on, the jobs were coming in pretty slow, and our finances took a big hit. And they made a bunch of sacrifices. We rented our house out. We moved in with my wife's parents to save on rent. Just decreased our spending a lot. Um, and it definitely took good communication, and at times we didn't crush the communication, but we've worked through it.
So Emery Custom Builds, just do you want to let me know your URL for people listening? I'll put it in the description as well where they can find you
Yeah, it's
online.
just emerycustombuilds.com.
So EMERY?
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Andrew. Really appreciate your time. It's been great.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was great talking to you.